we've got a new camera stand, so trying to set that up. Ugh. I swear it's like one day after I have cheese, I've got phlegm for fucking days. Alright, so this morning we've got Blue Bottle coffee. We've got Tabasco. I didn't ask her for Tabasco hot sauce, but that's what she gave me. Got our salad here. And of course, grapevine. Today, this is the San Francisco with salmon. Okay, so this morning's rant is gonna be on my godfather and my mother. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like there's like some major shit that I've learned about like I don't I have well, obviously everyone has like a father, like the person who the sperm that created you, right? But that doesn't mean that person raised you, and that doesn't mean that you like them and have a relationship with them. But that also doesn't mean that you grew up fatherless and are like a bastard child. So like I grew up with my godfather, who was in like a pretty serious long-term relationship with my mother since I was like, I don't know. I think he entered my life actually when I was like 1. And stuck around pretty significantly until I was like, you know, like 19, when he was basically like, you're spoiled. You need to go find your way in the world. And I have. So thank you, Mr. Lewis. But also, I grew up with like friends who realized that I was a bastard child, and like, you know, I befriended them and their fathers were like kind to me. So I'm very familiar with what it's like to see a healthy relationship between a biological father and his child, and to watch that blossom and grow and understand what that support looks like. So even if you are a person without a father, that doesn't mean that you need to walk through the world like a bastard. All you have to do is find really one example. They don't have to be ethnically similar to you at all. They don't even have to be in real life. Like, you could make some shit up from the internet. Like, one thing that's actually really interesting is if you are into celebrity culture, just find a celebrity with a kid and then watch the way that they treat their kid, and then only go around people who treat you the way that that celebrity treats their kid. Like how Will Smith treats like Willow Smith or Jaden Smith. That's a good example, right? I think that their parenthood is good. But okay, so some of you might have seen my post recently where I sent my mom a text message telling her, bitch better have my money. And I'm very serious about that. Basically, we had this shared Target card, and I had a recurrent payment from my accounts. So it was like yesterday, like I balanced my funds very accordingly, and my like current paycheck payment didn't hit, and I was like, you know, gonna use the money that was in the account to go to breakfast yesterday, and I was looking at my balance and it was low, and I was like, why do I have a $76 payment coming out of my account? So of course I have the Bank of America app. I check it like all day long, right? I watch my money. Yeah, and then I was like, the Target payment, and I'm like, my mom took me off the Target card. Like, she canceled my card and was like, you can't use the Target card to shop anymore. So like, if I'm not shopping, I'm not paying. That bitch can pay her own bill, right? Like, I want my $76. Like, I got a whole puff and a crepe, nigga. Pay her own bill, bitch. So I sent her a message and I was like, I want my money right now. And she was like, well, because she pays for like, you know, her home. She has like adult payments and stuff. So I guess like her money is tied up. And she was like, oh, I don't get paid until blah, blah, blah. So I was like, well, send me a promissory note. But I want my money. I'm serious about it. And, you know, maybe that's not the way that some of you talk to your parents and you feel differently, or that it was disrespectful. Live your life. But I know my mother, and and like I just kind of wanted to go over some of the reasons why I speak to her like that. Like, if I felt like my mom was a more kind person to me, then maybe I would like treat her accordingly. But all my life, my mom has been a bitch to me, and my mom is lazy. Like, I know many women like that. They're like the pick-me bitches. My mom is for sure one of them. The only difference is she actually got picked, right? Like, so a part of getting picked basically means you have men who pay for like shit. So like I said, my godfather came into my life pretty early, and he's like a real estate mogul, so he owns hella property, and he like gave my mom a house in West Oakland. It was like a 2-story house in West Oakland. So we lived there like rent free for my whole life, like until I was like 21. So we had like a whole entertainment room. I had like every single movie. I was just able to grow up, you know, watching television shows, having premium cable, all the DVDs, and I could just watch on my own, because like I have a brother, but later in life he started using drugs, and there's never been drugs allowed. Like, my mom is extremely strict, so there's no drugs allowed in my home. So when he started doing that shit, he got kicked out. So it was basically like living in a 2-story home that had all of the amenities with just my mother. My mother had a job. She didn't pay rent, but like she still had a job. So, you know, she was always working. And so I had, you know, regular school, and then I just signed up for all of the free extracurricular activities at places like the YMCA, Thousand Oaks, Ailey Camp, what was it, the Berkeley Youth Alternative, whatever, like after school camp was free. I signed up for it and I went. So like after school I would go to camp, you know, after school program for like an additional 3 hours, and then I come home, do my homework or watch TV, and that was it. It was just like a little chill life. And then, you know, like you get to hang out with all the other kids who are at the little programs and stuff, and they have like snacks and games, pool, swimming. So for me, it was like the life. It was just chill. It was like every day you just get to go play and then watch TV. So yeah, it was cool. So going back to my mother, because of the fact that she was in that relationship with my godfather, and really all the other relationships that I've seen her have as like an adolescent, like my mom is very tall. She's like 6'1", or what, you know, she's like 5'11", extremely thin. So modeling was a major part of her life. With that comes like free clothes and fashion, and then obviously like the men that she dated also like buy her clothes and take her to nice restaurants and travel. Like traveling was huge for her. She's been like all around the world multiple times on another man's dime. And really with my godfather, as an adolescent, we did like a lot of like traveling. So like multiple times, like once a month, we would take a trip to like Las Vegas, where we would go to like Circus Hotel. I would take my best friend at the time, Malika. We would ride all the rides in the hotels, you know, get like room service and ice cream, go to like Disneyland, museums, like Reno, Tahoe. Like we usually did a trip like that every month, and then every Friday we had dinner at this like Shenzhen Chinese restaurant in San Pablo. Like every Friday since I was like 3, I'm gonna say. So, you know, it was like we became members of that community just because we frequented there so often. So I guess there were some things like about, you know, dining in restaurants, ordering Chinese food, understanding Chinese food is also I just realized that, like, I don't know, I've been going to Chinese restaurants since I was 3, so seeing all the types of fish and, you know, octopus and really things that are like exotic, bats, all that, rats, all that shit, like really just like plated up and having spices and peppers and all that shit is very common for me. So growing up, I suppose, like, my mom would call me, like, very picky because, like, I would try shit, and if I don't like it, I'm not ordering that again. And I don't share plates, so, like, I'm ordering my plate, and, you know, like, don't touch my food, basically. Like, you order what you order, and if you don't like it, order something else or deal with your shit, but don't eat off my plate. Like, I hate that. Yeah, but to me, I realized, like, in kindergarten, I think that's when it became apparent to me that there were, like, the house moms, and then there were working mothers. But I mean, like, working mothers who were, like, paying rent. Like, there were even mothers who were, like, married poor mothers. So there's like I want to, like, explain something here. Like, being a woman in America, if you're interested in heterosexual relationships, you can choose to be, like, a housewife, or you can be, like, a working woman. But in both scenarios, there are, like, levels to this shit. Like, so when I grew up, like I said, my mom's pretty fancy, so she had this friend Brendolyn, and, like, I'm not sure, some of the other just people that she knew, so she knew other, like, kind of, like, fancy type black people. So the kids that I grew up with, you know, they have parents that are like that. So, like, one of my best friends growing up was, like, Siggy Bennett. Now she's married to, like, some NFL player, and it was very clear from, like, a young age, like, even when we were, like, 3. Yeah, because, like, Siggy took a lot of those, like, LA trips, the Disneyland trips with me too. And you know, we would both be able to just kind of, like, see the future. Like, we can see our moms and the way that they're living, and kind of, like, choose, like, do I want to be in that type of relationship? Do I want to live here, right? Do I want to do this? Like, you know, I think Siggy's parents broke up. They were separated. Like, Siggy's, like, 4 years older than me, and just to see, like, her parents separated, and I didn't really know her dad, but her dad was, I believe, fairly well off, but her mom might have been a bit impoverished. For me, like, I didn't know my dad at all. I know he was like a military man, but he started a new family in Mississippi, and to me that was just so disrespectful. I just chose never to contact him. Like, when I was 18, I called him once, and I was like, oh, you know, I'm about to go to college, and I was just like, hi, basically. I didn't have much to say, because, like, I didn't, like, want anything from him. I just wanted to, like, you know, talk to my biological father, because he was, like, alive. You know, I mean, I realized, you know, he's old, so he was gonna die. I wanted to, like, talk to him before he died, and just kind of see, like, if he had anything to say. Like, honestly, he didn't. Something positive that came out of that, though, like, 2 months after that call, he added me to his social security, so I started getting these, like, $800 checks that I was able to spend on, like, yoga and smoothies. I started a retirement account with that money. It was great to be, like, 17, you know, and just have, like, $800 kind of, like, hitting your account every month. I was like, wow, that nigga's good for something, you know, so that was nice. Where was I going with this? Back to my mom. So, like, my mom's not lazy, but my mom's also, she had, like, a really awful education. So she doesn't really know much about, like, corporate America, business ownership, really property, like, ownership in general across the landscape is very new to her. So this whole process of her, like, inheriting a home has been hell for her. Like, it's been so difficult. Like, every step was pulling teeth. Like, I literally had to walk her through how to inherit the property. Anyway, that's a whole story. But she's not lazy also. Like, I've never qualified for any, like, welfare or government programs as a child, because my mom always earned over, like, $50,000 a year. And my brother's dad is actually pretty, like, well off. Their whole side of the family is pretty, like, well off. My brother doesn't like them, so he doesn't talk to them. But, like, he knows them, and he would still, like, send my brother, like, money and stuff. So my mom's only real responsibility was, like, taking care of me. And like I said, my godfather gifted her the house, so she didn't pay rent. So, like, what she was paying was, like, utility bills, water, electricity. She had her car payments, And then like I said, she didn't put me in like private. I went to public school, so she wasn't paying for my school, so she would just kind of pay for like particular extracurricular activities. But I didn't even go to like any of the private camps. Some like there was like one dance class. Like I went to Alameda School of Dance when I was like 4. No, I enrolled when I was 3. That was the one activity that she did pay for. But all of the other extracurricular activities that I participated in, I did the free ones, like the public ones. You know, like BYA, that was free. Thousand Oaks, the Warriors basketball camp, like all of those things were free. They were like programs. I think they were really designed for like Black American youth in poverty, to try to like create opportunities for extracurricular activities for those populations to build like community and leadership. So like one of the cool activities at BYA, they had this Stanford graduate who was really into like karate. So he taught a karate class at BYA, so I participated in that because it was like free, and I did it for like 4 years. So I ended up like earning a green belt in karate at Stanford. Like in order to get a belt, you have to like go and do like perform your kata like at Stanford University, and then if you pass, then that's how you get a belt. So I was like 9 or 10 when I earned my green belt in karate at Stanford. So like that was cool, and all that, it was free, right? Like and it like I don't know, I wasn't thinking about karate or basketball or swimming or really any of the shit that I did as like activities of elitism in any way. They were really just ways to occupy my time. Like I want to go places with people my age, just to like have friends and be social and like do shit and just not like be in the house. And so like all of my youth, I did that. Whatever the free activity was, my mom signed me up for it. Now, here's one thing like I've realized as an adult. If you have young children, you should really be utilizing the library, the public library in your city, because the public library is an index or a directory that just lists out whatever the upcoming free programs are in your town. They'll be like, okay, this week we're having this speaker who wrote this book come speak for free at the library. Like, and people do that. And I mean, especially like a lot of people with resources, they usually do that at the library, because the library is like the one place like people who want to better themselves tend to go to. They just surround themselves in academic spaces. Like even if they can't read, they would go to the library just to maybe look at picture books, or just ask like to use the bathroom. Like if you have to use the bathroom, a good place to use the bathroom is the public library, because there's like facilities management people who actually take care of that building. So you could use the bathroom, you could get like a cup of water. Like you could really just ask the desk receptionist. You could say like, you know, I'm lost, or I lost my keys, or I'm suffering from abuse. Like whatever your issue is, you could actually just tell the receptionist at the library, and they would be able to help you find the information to like solve your problem, because like that's what the library is there for. So if your problem is like, I have children and I'm bored, you can literally just go to the library and be like, I have a 1-year-old. What should I do with this 1-year-old? That's what like all the white parents and Asian parents do. And then they're like, oh, we have the baby bounce class on Saturdays at 1 o'clock. And then you just go, and then you learn from the other parents there. Like, that's what I did. That's what, you know, most people would do. Like, whatever the free resources are in your community, just take advantage of them. Like, you don't have to have all of these like elite experiences, exclusive experiences. Like I am literally sitting on the UC Berkeley campus rocking my UC Davis sweatshirt because I believe in public access. Like I think that everyone should have the opportunity to better themselves. Now, I understand that some private universities and private spaces offer more exclusive experiences, but from a very young age, I've just really been exposed to people who have much less than me. Like I grew up very, very privileged. Like I said, my mom didn't pay rent. My godfather gifted her house, and I went to dinner with my family every Friday since I was like 1, and I took trips as a family once a month to like Disneyland, Tahoe, Vegas, like theater, ballets, all that shit. Like, that's the way that I grew up. And I participated in those activities like as a youth. The free ones, the free activities. Like even Berkeley High School, right? Like I didn't go to St. Mary's, I didn't go to a private university. Even Oakland School for the Arts, it is free, it is public. Like anyone at that time, I think now the application process is a lot more exclusive, but at the time it was just like anyone who has an interest in art can go to Oakland School for the Arts. And then, you know, like I'd been doing performing arts for so long, at that point, I was really good, right? Where was I going with that? Oh, I think I was trying to point out, though, the flaws that I see in my mother and why I don't like her. I think it's mostly just because she lacks an education. And what I mean by that is, like, she doesn't understand, like, the way the world works. And I think that's important. And I don't think that's actually gender specific. So I think despite what gender you are, there's a real development process that needs to happen where you understand how the world works, how to have meaningful relationships, how to ask for and receive what you need, and really get past the shame of not having what it is that you need. Like, I think a good example of this is people who are food insecure and have food stamps and don't understand and can't figure out how to make their food stamps last until the end of the month. I'm sorry, but that's a pathetic ass problem to have. Like, you are sad if the government is giving you $100 a month and you can't figure out how to feed yourself. Like, here, let me solve this problem for you. One sweet potato, I think right now the price of one sweet potato is like $1.79, so like $2, right, for one sweet potato. One sweet potato has all the nutrients that you need for 24 hours. So if you eat one sweet potato a day, you won't die. It has all the nutrients that you need to live. So all the people who are like living on ramen, that's sad because you're stupid, honestly. You should be buying sweet potatoes and not ramen. And really rice. You could have one sweet potato a day and rice. Like, you can get a bag of rice at Costco. I think it's like a 20-pound bag. It might be like $30, but like that would for sure last you a month. And you can get like Quaker Oats, right? You can either get the it's like the 50 package box of Quaker Oats for like, I think it's still like $10, right? That would for sure last you for a month. So you could have the box of Quaker Oats, $10, the bag of rice, $30, and what is that? There's 30 days in a month, $2 for every sweet potato, $60. That's $100. So I just told you how to live and not die in America for $100 a month. Now you're gonna get bored with that meal. It's a basic meal. It's not exciting. It is routine, but it is tried and true. Tried and true. All the nutrients you need for a day. I know, because like when I lived in New York, I was broke. I was like paying a lot to live at NYU, and so I was on the sweet potato diet. Maybe it's also something because like I just was a chemist and I've actually taken the human biology and nutrition classes, so like I understand what foods have the highest nutrient values, and sweet potatoes are at the top of the list, especially if you're African. If you're African, we are potato people. So like sweet potatoes can and should be your bread and butter. They're really cheap. They have all the nutrients you need. You can make a ton of different types of dishes with sweet potatoes. But like I said, one sweet potato, you put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, turn it over another 5 minutes. That's how you cook it. So if you have a microwave and a sweet potato, you won't die. I mean, you'll be skinny as shit and you'll drop all the baby fat. Like, you won't have no fat, but like, you'll live. Like when I was in New York, everybody thought I was modeling. I wasn't modeling, nigga. I was broke. I was on the sweet potato diet, bitch. Like, that shit was hard, and I was like walking everywhere. That's why I was so skinny. My mom was like, what the fuck happened to you? I was like, bitch, I'm broke. She was like, well, Yeah, that's another thing. My mom never gave me any money. Like, I had an allowance growing up, but it wasn't enough. Like, I couldn't buy baby fat bags with the little ass allowance that she gave me. So I had to get a job. So my first job was working at Macy's, where I was selling like men's cologne. And there's a lot to like understanding what it means to have a job. You know, like you have responsibilities, you have to help customers, you have to like operate the payment machine, the cash register. You might have to like organize things. Like, I think the best job, or the job that I learned the most from, the most applicable lessons to life, was definitely working at Uniqlo. So Uniqlo is like this Japanese clothing store, and their whole philosophy is about like utility, affordability, design, and like cleanliness, like orderliness and presentation. So the entire store, like the employees are trained to clean the store and fold the clothes, but like not just fold them once. Like every single time a person touches a shirt, you have to refold it. And when you go through training to work at Uniqlo, the training process is like, how do you fold a shirt? How do you fold pants? Where do you put those pants? Like, you go through a training process where you have to learn how to do that. So that's how I learned how to like fold clothes, how to organize clothes. They also have free tailoring. So, you know, like you can get, when you buy a pair of pants, they will tailor them to fit your body, where they will like go in the back and like sew up the pants on the bottom so that they fit your body type. So if anyone is thinking about, like if you maybe grew up in a home where you had bad parents, really highly consider getting a job at a Japanese clothing store, specifically like Uniqlo. They're international. It shouldn't be that hard to be like a sales associate, but you will learn how to fold clothes, and you will get practice over and over again, and you know, you'll make money. It's a really good training process, and you'll meet really interesting people. So yeah, like I to anyone out there who's kind of like wondering, like, if maybe you feel like I'm poor, I have bad parents, and I'm ugly, well, welcome to my world. All of those things apply to me. Like, I've never been the prettiest girl, never had the best body, never been the tallest, certainly not the richest, not the best educated, had awful parents, made a shit ton of mistakes, I've got a potty mouth. Like, really, all the problems that you can have, I've had them. But I'm just here to say, like, even you, welcome. If you want to understand how to live a normal girl life, especially like as a black girl in America, black American here, descendant of American chattel slavery, you're trying to figure out, how do I navigate? What do I do? I will literally show you. Ask me about any of the experiences that you've heard me talk about, that you've seen me work through, shit that I said that was like foul or blah, blah, blah. Ask me about it, because I try to be really intentional. Like, there's a reason that I said that. There's a reason that I did that. There's a reason I hung out with this person. There's a reason I cut this person off. Like, ask me about those things. I would love to tell you about them and explain to you, like, reasons I did things. Some of the things that I posted about it, I think the tech stories I'm gonna save. I told Tim and Ruben we're gonna write a book about them, because like that, I actually made a lot of those choices really intentionally. Like, I did some fuck shit in tech, but really intentionally, mostly because I started working with people who are pretty like elitist, and I hate elitists. Like, to me, they're the worst people ever, because they have all of the resources and they just literally don't care about the people who care about public access. You know, like, I don't want to be the best in the world. That's not what I strive to be. I just strive to be like good and like competent enough where I can help the person behind me have an opportunity. Like, that is like my goal. My goal is not to be better than other people, to take opportunities away from other people. My goal is to occupy my space, like pay my rent. Like, here's another thing that was really interesting. Like, for me, I just feel like I've understood enough about society as at a young age. I was like, oh, I'm gonna rent hack. Like, I'm just gonna go get a boyfriend older than me who pays rent so that I don't have to. If you're a girl, pro tip, like, whatever your ugly thing is in high school, maybe you had acne, maybe you were fat, like, high school really trains you on how to live a long life. Like, go to class. Maybe if you're a bad student, go talk to a counselor and figure out how to become a better student. It might take you years to solve that problem. If your issue is housing, like in high school you were homeless, go figure out how to solve the homeless issue. So maybe that means you can't get an education, so fuck the education, go solve the homeless issue, right? Or if your issue was you had an awful diet, go figure out how to have a better diet. Like whatever your issue was in high school, if you're a girl, if you have a vagina, here's a life hack. Whatever the thing is that you couldn't figure out in high school, if you solve that problem by the time, like when you're 18, your body looks the best it's gonna look, unless you were like extra fat, unless you had some like crazy problem. If you just like developed kind of naturally, like you had a normal amount of food, you did your PE class, physical activity, you had a friend, you don't need to have a million friends, just like one friend, you went to the regular scheduled activities, the public announcement, you might have had a performance, a graduation ceremony. Like it's a really good indication of life. Like life is exactly like that. You just repeat it over and over again. The same thing happens in college, then the same thing happens in graduate school. The same thing, then you see other people doing it because people have children, and then you watch them do it. It's the same shit over and over and over and over again. So just figure out, like if you're a girl, figure out whatever problem you are having, like write it down. Maybe it's like you were depressed, maybe it's that you were fat, maybe it's that you had awful hair. Like for me in high school, I didn't figure out my hair issues yet because I have like 4C afro hair, right? Like I know how to take care of my hair now. If you have my hair, this is actually really simple hair to take care of. What you have to do is every night, you can't be afraid of water. Water is your friend. Like when you get in the shower at night, once a week, wash your hair. I use Arm & Hammer, Head and Shoulders, shampoo, right? So once a week I do that in the shower. It's not a whole routine, I just like rinse it out, right? And then every night when I take a shower, I have the Trader Joe's Tea Tree Tingle conditioner. You just take like enough in your hand, part it in 4 sections, put a little bit on, and just drench that shit in water. Go like that, drench it in water, put it in these like 4 like Bantu knots, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, go out, live your day with the afro, do it again. Tried and true. like this is, last year I was bald, and now I've got, what is this, like 4 inches. Next year I'll have 8 inches. If I don't cut it again, I'll have 12 inches. It is not some like, it's the lazy black girl hack to living your life. Or you could just get braids. Like I had braids, like I wore my braids for like 4 months. But if you have braids, the same regimen that I said, like if you have a weave, wash your weave. Don't do that shit where you let it like mat up and get all dirty. That's gross. If you have a weave, if you have braids, you gotta wash your braids with soap and conditioner. That's it. Like I was treating that horsehair like my own hair, and I was like rocking that shit. It was great. I kept those braids in for like 5 months. Like I am so lazy. 5 months. You know how much I paid for that hair, girl? $17, nigga. At the beauty salon. The beauty supply, I just get the horsehair. Because like I don't believe in that whole like, that is silly. That whole hair trade where people are buying Filipino girls' hair. Their mamas are like selling their hair, stealing hair at night. All type of crazy shit. You can grow 4C hair out so quick by doing nothing. Just getting in the regular shower at night. If your hair's thicker, like I have thick hair, like my shit is thick. You want refined curls, use more conditioner and more water. Massage that shit. And you'll be smelling like berries all day long. That's it. That's the hack. Oh, I also wanted to point out, yeah, there was something about like, there was something I realized about my mom growing up. Like she was really big into hair and didn't like my hair type, so she like texturized my hair and gave me perms, which I hated. And it made me feel like she hated me because she gave me the perm. So it made me hate her because I'm like, well, I'm your child. You don't like me. That's fucked up, you know? So, all right, hopefully there were some gems in there. Maybe I'll write an article about it later. Bye, bitches.